I am your brother, the lone low life with the home sewn garment, the Boricua with the build, the true and living God, stepping and score, soon he has a lot, aka skill straight or low, and I'm your panelist for this art therapy session. Spiritual, mental, physical health, and creativity. It's a real honor to be back for this one. This fest keeps getting bigger and bigger, and it's awesome. What's great is that this is an ongoing discussion, and the panelists, here are incredible. They are well informed. They are insightful, but they are insightful because they are also in the process of seeking. Right? So they were in their journeys, just as you all are. So let's all kind of interact and blend, and you take the best part, understand the worst part, the poor parts, everything. You know what I mean? And put it all together and make yours. But I want to go first, let you know just a little bit about myself while I'm here in the panel, and then go around and let everybody here know who they are, and we'll start talking about this immediately. Again, my name is Advocatez, and I'm a hip-hop journalist, writer, historian. I also end up emceeing too, because you end up doing music when you write about music for over 30 years. And I've been in every single magazine that you could think of. Source, Vibe, Double XL, Hip Hop DX, Source, Stress, everything that you bought, everything you threw away, everything you thought wouldn't make it. One Love magazine, that's a real crick right there, right? And I've also done every type of media. So I was at BAI Radio, I was telling Frank about that, he reminded me about that. So then everything from before podcast, it was just radio and you had to hurry up. So with that said, I've had the opportunity to speak to creatives, thinkers, people that solve problems for years and years. And it's a joy to actually capture their thoughts within that particular vein. That's usually something that we get into for a small amount, but now we can really delve into it deeply here. So as I go around the panel, I'll go from my left to down the panel. Who do we have here?
I'm Crystal Bianca Parker. Let me say that again, because I don't feel like I said my name right. I'm Crystal Bianca Parker, and I'm a mental health therapist. My work is not necessarily that I'm a creative, but I'm very creative in my work. Just to bring mental health to the community and the things that I really passionately care about. Also healing, that's who I am, I'm a healer. So I'm happy to be here for all the creatives, just to add in my expertise. But yes, I am a therapist, I do telehealth, and I'm very excited to be here.
Hey everyone, I go by Phoenix Jones. I am a music artist, singer, songwriter, producer, but I've also worked in radio from Sirius XM to Apple Music Radio and been lead producer in that. Super passionate when it comes to mental health and creativity and spirituality, so I'm super excited to be here, so thank you.
Hi, I'm Elise Del Valle. I own 80 exhibitions. I'm an art curator, so I'm all about hosting events just like this. I'm really excited to be here and speak about my business today with you guys.
Hi, my name is Keisha Richardson. I do media called the Harris Project with my father. He's a mechanical engineer, so I do some work like that with him as well. And I'm a Christian.
Hi, I'm Ty. I go by Ty the Dancer. My full name is Taijita. Feel free to just call me Ty, but also Taijita is my name. I do dance movement therapy. So, yes, I'm super excited to rep because it's kind of underrepresented and a new budding field. So, yeah, I'm super excited to talk to all of you guys from your various backgrounds too.
Thank you for that. Let's get the mic back here and let's talk about the journey that you have to your profession and why therapy for you, especially for you particularly, and in the creative mindset. Is there a different focus when you deal with creatives I know that that must be an issue that might come up, though, people having difficulty creating, continuing to create, what to create, when to create. So what led you into this field? And then also, what are some of the immediate solutions that you immediately provide?
Okay, so what led me into this field is like from very, very young, I realized like with my best friend, the way we would process our trauma is we would be on the phone for like 24 hours, 24/7, talking about like maybe our parents or what was going on in our childhood and our lifetime at the time. And like what we wanted to do was get to compassion and understanding. Right? As long as we get to understanding, we got to compassion, we got to healing. So that's kind of like my introduction to the field. But then, secondarily, it was like a traumatic relationship. Like I was in a 4-year, very abusive, traumatic relationship. And then I said, okay, God, what is it for me? What am I here for? What am I supposed to be here for? So that was when I got the download of the message, like, look at you. And I was like, what is that supposed to mean? And I'm like, I'm pathetic. I'm on this bathroom floor crying or whatever. And then it was like, okay, yeah, so look at you. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. I'm supposed to heal myself, heal and inspire others as well. And so that's what led me into the career of mental health field. My unique and creative thinking is my niche in that area. Like I try to get my clients to think outside the box. And so that's where creativity comes in. And when I think of creatives, because I think, and like in my world, I'm extremely creative. And so when I think of creatives, I always think like, how can I think outside the box? What works? You gotta know who you are and what works for you. And like, I'll deal with my client, like, okay, getting to know who they are and building a trusting rapport with them. It's like, okay, let's creatively think outside the box for your answers. Because there is opportunity in all adversity. You just have to find it. You just have to look for it. But there is opportunity in every adversity and everything that challenge that come your way. There's purpose in it. There's purpose in your pain. And so that's why I feel like I have a good rapport with my clients because I can connect to pain on a trauma level, but I also know how to bring that high vibration to the situation, that positivity to the situation, and that unique creative thinking. Let's think outside the box for what works for you. It's very tailored. And let's work with you, and let's have thoughts that work with you instead of against you. And so that's pretty much like my angle and things when it comes to creatives. I know a big thing is like, am I gonna fail? Is this gonna work? Especially when a lot of people's ideas around things is like, when it comes to creative space, it's like, I'm not gonna make money. Am I gonna be able to survive? And the whole thing is like, once you do what you love, it will come about. So the whole thing is like, if your fear is failure, then hold that as your highest fear. Like, oh, maybe I won't succeed in this. Maybe it won't be great. Maybe other people constantly think about what other people think. At the end of the day, once you show up authentically as you are, and then add whatever it is that you're supposed to add to the space, then your uniqueness is supposed to be. So you're not supposed to look like anybody else. So there is no failure. There is just showing up authentically and giving the world who you are, and that's your contribution. So.
Because we only have 1 minute, I want to ask each of you a particular question. For you, I definitely want to ask you about this idea of you're an artist, but you're also someone that's on the radio as well, doing media. I relate to that because once I started to do art, it put me on the other side, seeing all the difficulties in making a record, changed my perspective of how to write about the record. You know what I mean? And in this dual aspect that you have, what do you feel is like the duties to creativity in general, being an artist, but also being one that's able to cover it on those levels as well?
So when it comes to that, I feel like at the end of the day, as an artist, you have to be true to yourself. You know what I mean? I hear a lot of people of what people think they want, and sometimes it's hard because I have friends in radio, and maybe I'll send them a song or something, and then they'll send me back notes. But which is funny because, you know, as an artist, you really don't want notes, but you have to be able to separate yourself from what others are expecting of you. And then I think another thing is, as an artist, you kind of have to set the standard and double down on yourself. You have to be so confident in your sound and what you're creating, and just understand that if people don't understand it, like, you might be early to that. You know what I mean? People don't always know what is hot or what's the trend, or what, you know, they might not have their finger on the pulse, and what you're creating might be that next thing. So I think really just being confident in yourself and doubling down on your artistry, and even if your sound isn't quite there yet, just trusting the process and trusting that you're finding your way to your sound. And yeah, standing 10 toes down on that.
Thank you for that answer. I'm gonna tell you something, as someone that interviews so many artists, like, that would lead me to a million other questions, but you know, I gotta keep it moving. I wanna ask you about your art and your journey. Tell us about your art and your journey and how it fits. How has the journey expanded your creativity to where it's necessary to you?
I would say that, like, when it comes to being a creative, it just pushes me to do more. I've been doing art my entire life, and it wasn't until I attended an art show in California with a really good friend of mine whose name is Haley Fonta. It made me want to host my own art exhibitions and get my foot in the door in, like, the art world. When it comes to being a creative, I'm always trying to advocate for others and tell people that, like, it is possible to, you know, keep doing what you're doing and, like, make your passions, like, sustainable careers. I think when it comes to, you know, living in New York and being an artist, there's so many of us who are in this, like, world, and there's no, like, direction when it comes to it, and there's so many, like, questions, and like she was saying, like, am I gonna fail? Am I gonna succeed? What am I doing? And I really just want to create a space for artists to know that they're not alone, and that there's so many different things for us to be doing together.